and then we'll get started. Okay, looks like we're good. All right, so I want to welcome all the devotees that are on the call, and thank you so much for tuning in live to support us. It's always wonderful to have a few people that we can smile at. So if you can leave your camera on, that would be great, because that helps to get a little bit of energy from our group out there. So today we have a very lovely devotee that I am really excited to interview, because she's somebody that I've talked to here and there on calls for the last couple of years, and I'm always thinking, boy, I'd really like to get to know her more better and learn more about her story. So Krishna fulfills all desires. So I'm going to read her short bio, and then we're going to turn things over to her. Saragrahi Dasi was born in Poland in 1978. So you can all do the math to figure out how old she is.
Quite old.
She joined ISKCON in 1997, and she served in temples in Poland and Spain, together with her first husband, Kopa Taru. After moving out of the temple, she and her husband, like millions of other Poles, traveled to different European countries for work. They came in contact with Guru Maharaj around 2009 and were initiated in 2011. Saragrahi has been drawing since her childhood. Her art combines folk art traditions with a modern twist. I like that. Since 2015, she has been married to Brigupad Das in Finland, where she lives with Sri Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu, their daughter Radha, and their dog Frodo. So nice company.
Yes, Frodo.
Frodo, I've seen him on the calls before. He's so cute.
Guru Maharaj noticed him, which was very important to my daughter. She was happy about it.
Yes, that's a very important part of life. So I would like to start with just asking the question that, growing up, was there any things that would have been clues or little hints that you might be taking to this spiritual path and doing something very different than just living your life like 99.9% of the world lives?
First, thank you for inviting me. It is my favorite series in Sanga lectures, at least one of the favorites. So I'm happy and a little bit scared to be here.
Say, you have to be careful because your husband's been doing a series.
Oh, yeah. yeah. We will have to talk. Yeah. So answering your question, yeah, I think it is always some little signs that quite often sadhakas are asking the same question, why we are here. It's usually comes to this question, and maybe in the young age I wasn't asking it. My father was atheistic person, even though in the same time he was always criticizing God, in which he didn't believe. So it was kind of mixed in him, I think. And my mom, she was Catholic, but she wasn't practicing much. My grandmother maybe a little bit more. But my father was always challenging all my aunties who were going to the church about things. He liked it very much. And I was born also in communistic reality. It was still communistic time for many years of my childhood. So God wasn't so important. And it was poor time. We didn't have much. We didn't have choices of sweets, which you have now. We didn't my color TV we've got when I was already quite big, maybe 50. No, maybe I was 10 actually. So I'm exaggerating a little bit. For example, I remember that there was this oranges were coming once a year to Poland for Christmas. And it was always like announced on the TV that yes, the ship with the oranges arrived in the harbor. There will be oranges this year. And it was like one orange per person. Like my first banana I tried when I was 12 and I didn't like it, of course. But in the same time, we had really beautiful childhood, because not having all these toys, like I never had any Barbie or anything even similar to Barbie. I never had Lego. It was my dream to have Lego. And but we had such a simple funs which were very like in the nature. We just took the stick and we could play with the stick for like whole day. And especially with my brother and my cousin, we had this wonderful childhood memories. With my grandparents, we were going to the village, and my father usually were busy in his workshop. He was doing something with wood, and we just were wandering around in the forest, like really that we had to get back. We did it like 1.5 hours to get back home. It was so deep in the forest. We were meeting animals. We were playing in the puddles. It was like really, when I was reading some Krishna stories, it was like it was bringing back some memories, it was so sweet. I liked it. It was so innocent. Therefore, perhaps it's so close for me. This stories, this leelas of Krishna. So my father was like that, and so we had this wonderful childhood. But unfortunately, in the same time, there was like a shade or shadow, you say in English, above us. We felt that there is some darkness going on, and it was my father, and he was narcissistic. He had like narcissistic and sociopath personality. So it was hard to live with him. You were always challenged, even though I was his favorite daughter, and I always was like keeping with him, and I always felt this chosen one because this wonderful person is like treating me like a princess. But still he was like manipulating us, and in the end of the day, I felt like I was cheated by the person I loved the most. And also in the same time, he was studying psychology, and he was learning these techniques of manipulation, and he was showing off to me like how clever he is. And I liked it because that's my father. And funny thing is that his best friend from that time, they were learning these things together. He started one sect, which unfortunately I don't remember the name of it, in Poland. And when I was already like devotee, there was at least 2 or 3 devotees which I knew. They were like fascinated by this person, but by my father's best friend from that time. So it was dangerous things which they were doing. And I remember there was some scandals in the newspapers about this person doing. And I just recognized him from the newspaper. So so my father was a person like that. And in the same time, he was very artistic. He was working as a higher officer in a jail, but he had this artistic side. He had plenty of free time because he had this quite high position, so he had plenty of time. And he liked art, he liked music, he liked good classical novels, and he kind of get me familiar with these beautiful big ideas which you can find in art. And some connection with God, which he didn't know, but I loved, because it's so much God in especially in classical art, and so much big ideas which are connected with God. So this was good thing which I feel I got from him, even though there was this other dark side. And unfortunately, after many years, I kind of realized about this dark side of him, even though I saw him being, for example, violent with my mom. And I have one memory, and I was really young that time. My sister wasn't born yet at that time, so I was maybe 7, maybe 6. He tried to kill my mom, and I stopped him from doing it. And I didn't realize that time that this will leave some really deep scars in me, like disturbance and anxieties. I didn't realize at that time. And still in the same time, I was still like thinking, idolizing him, like thinking how he's like just not understood by others, So like this kind of Hitler artist who was not understood. So he started the Second World War. Yeah, now I can laugh about it, but it was many years of struggle with it. And so, like I said, in that time, it was like communistic country. So even in my really like early years, we were learning religion, but not in the school. It was still by the church, by nuns. It was very sweet. These nuns were really like inspired to teach us. They were really like giving their heart to that. They could be strict, but in the same time, you felt that they care about you, and they care that in this godless country there is not God. So they wanted you to have this connection. And I remember in that time that I liked to go to this religion, and also we all of us in our family, we had communion, we were baptized, first communion, we were baptized, and we had confirmation. But I kind of felt that this is more like because of social reasons. So we kind of didn't feel excluded as a kids. But when I was really small, I remember there is this tradition of having, I'm not sure how you call it in England, in English, but it is during the Advent, and Google Translator said that it is Advent Dawn Mass. So I don't know if you know it, like it's very early in the morning for this 40 days or whole month before Christmas. All us kids, very little kids, we were having these lanterns with candle, and before going to school, which was starting early in the morning at 8, like 6:30, we were going to the church with these lanterns. And I was living in the block, and it was so sweet and wonderful in this cold day in the darkness. All these little kids with these little lanterns were going to the same direction. It was like, I loved it. And also we had another tradition for 1 month before Easter. We had this, we were praying rosary. So it was also very, very moving for me. We were singing also songs, some psalms, but also songs. We have plenty of devotional songs, and there is one about, because it's before Easter, about Mary and Madonna, that she knows what is going to happen to Jesus and how much pain it gives her, but still she lets this happen. She got no choice, and she's so sad. And I was like crying in the church, a little bit hiding. But yeah, I was very like emotional about these things. I loved everything what was like a big ideas. I was idealistic kid, because my father, I didn't understand the side of his, and he was putting this beautiful from world of art, these ideas into my head. So I was trying to grasp it whenever I could. It was even like we had this procession for International Workers' Day on the 1st of May, and kids were making these flowers on the stick. So it was huge procession around the city. So it was kids from school, it was workers from different factories, or everyone, big and small, and we were walking for peace. So I was also like so happy, like I can walk next to these grown-ups, and I'm so important. I'm fighting for peace. I am 10 years old, but so I like these big things all the time. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, then I grew up, and life got a little bit more complicated. I started to have anxieties. I didn't know that I had perhaps depression already at the time, suicidal thoughts, and yeah, things like that. I felt like I am not in the right place. And of course, I learned in school many things about war, about unfairness of war. So I was asking this question, was like getting bigger and bigger in me, like, what is this for? Why it's so unfair? Why it's like some kids are being born with this cancer, just living for 4 years, and then they die in just pain. And unfortunately, like Catholic or Christianity, they couldn't answer my questions. I couldn't find it there. It was I was praying to God, I was praying to Jesus still, even though I like, please give me the answer. I remember I was going to the cemeteries. My very close friend, he committed suicide. So I was going in the night usually to pray on his grave, like for him and for myself mostly, I think still. But I was praying, please, Jesus, just give me some sign, like where I should go, what should I do? And more or less in this time, I met devotees. I started to hear about them. I had friends. They were very artistic. They were musicians. We had our own magazine out for our town. We were having poetry, some short novels there, so drawings. So we made it for free. We've got, yeah. And one friend, he was vegetarian, which was not so popular at that time. And it was very difficult in Poland to be vegetarian. But he was always going to these musical festivals, and he was saying, Krishna people will come there and they will feed me. So I heard already about them, that this is vegetarian, this is some Krishna. I don't know what it's about exactly, but I heard it. And then one day my brother actually, he got interested with it as well. He's 1 year younger than me. And he brought 2 Krishna books, which he got from his priest who was teaching him in his high school. And I just opened it and I saw these pictures. I was a little bit ridiculing him because we were like fighting, thanks a little bit to manipulation of my father. We were like trying to be one better than the other. So well, there was some fights like that going on. But he showed me these pictures and I just like, I couldn't believe it, how beautiful they were. Because some of them, they were simple, but some of them, they were like according to like, you know, classical beauty. They were like perfect. They were, especially if there was something of Jadurani, and it was just like, and I didn't know who this person is, but I saw that he's having sweet, sweet, simple life, but so sweet, and everyone is beautiful and happy and so colorful. And I was living in this really gray communist, post-communistic already Poland. So it was something which touched me very much. And that time, more or less, I met devotees, because Indraduna Maharaj was already running the festival in Poland, which is really big, and it is already like going on maybe for 40 years or maybe 30 something. And I met devotees and I got invitation and I went for the festival. I decided, okay, it's quite late. It's not in my town. It's far from me, but I will go anyway. I want to see what will happen. So I went for the festival and I loved everything. I loved kirtan. I didn't know what I'm looking at. I didn't understand almost anything. I heard word karma and I heard word reincarnation, which was very big for me because my father was connected a little bit with Zen meditation and also with some Oriental philosophy. He liked it. So I heard about it, but I never thought that you can think about word to be like that, like as philosophy of your life. I never understood that you can kind of have it in your life, reincarnation. I thought it more like kind of, gym for your intellect to think about it. So I heard all of it and I loved all the cultural program they did. And the best was that I went to ask if were they staying? Well, I didn't know if they have temples. And the best thing is that first person I spoke to, it was Namarasana. She was that time initiated by someone else, and she was my first connection. I just remembered her face because then later I met her a few times again. So I didn't like prasadam that time. It was just too spicy. It was too strange, but I loved everything else. And that time this finished very late in the night and I needed to call. There was no mobiles. It was 1997. So I called for my father to pick me up. But I felt like he will destroy it for me if he will find out that he will say that they will brainwash me or something. I should be careful. So I immediately I said to him that it was my friend who wanted to see it, and you know what? This is so stupid. You can see it's a sect. They are so like silly with all this clothes. Just I kind of like felt I've got the treasure and I will protect it by attacking you. So you don't need to say anything. So you will not spoil it for me. So I did like that, and it worked. I tricked him a little bit. Yeah, and then somehow, because I was skipping school in that time, I was already having like anxieties. I was skipping school, and my grades were not so good. But still, I managed to get into the college. And I was studying for 1.5 years, but then I decided to move to the temple because I felt like I'm old and I am losing my time. It's already, I lost like half of my life, so I need to move. So I moved to Krakow, to the temple in Krakow, and I met there were living our sweet Braja Sundari, and you would recognize her that time from her sweet smile, but she had this very long braid, really long, like the longest. I didn't see that long braid ever in my life. And so I was living with her in an ashram, and it was really good time for me to learn all the songs, to learn philosophy, like basic things there. I got
so what did your father do when you went and moved into the temple? What was his
I
role?
lied to him. I lied to him
You lied to him
again.
again.
Yes,
You were
I
smart.
lied
You
to
learned
him
how to
that
deal with the narcissist and
yeah,
sociopath.
I knew how to deal with him already. That's yeah. I guess I started to know how to deal. I lied that I am still studying. I just moved my subject, like I moved from one university to another, and I was thinking, okay, I will say like that for a few months and then we will see. And then after maybe 3-4 months, I said to him the truth, and that I'm living in a temple. And he said, I was suspecting that, but in this time he was starting new life with another wife and another child, so he left us. And yeah, so it was, yes, so he didn't have time to bother with me at the moment, which was lucky for me, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And how old were you at that time?
That was, I think it was 1999. So I was 21. So yeah.
You were an adult by that time.
Yeah. So he couldn't do anything legal anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the temple, I got seva in the kitchen, even though I didn't have initiation, but I was like helping in the kitchen. And over there, I met my first husband, Kalpataru. He was that time, his name was Madhavendra Puri, and Braja Sundari, she was Bhava Bhakti. And it was fun also because it was some other devotees who were our god siblings were living nearby, and they were quite often coming to Krakow. It was Nityangi and Premarnava. So they were, and Nityangi I knew even from before, because I went for a little bit to live during the summer break. I went to Indraduna Maharaja's festival to live there for 2 months and like also learn. Yeah. So, and then we kind of fast fell in love with Kalpataru, and we kind of fast decided to move, to change ashram, to get married. He proposed to me very fast, but we were still living for some time in a temple. But we moved maybe for after half year or 1 year. I don't remember now how long we were living there, because we felt like we can't live on a temple kind of money, and we wanted to be also independent. And we had really, really poor life in the sense of like from the economical point of view. It was hard in Poland, especially that we didn't finish college. So of course it was hard to find job anyway. It was difficult situation there. But we moved to his family. They had really big house, so we moved there, and we were trying some businesses which were not working. But we had really good sadhana for some time at least. And we were visiting some devotees here and there. And then we moved to this temple. I wasn't planning to say where it was because we had bad experience there, but I said it in my bio. So yeah, in Spain, and there was beautiful deities there. It was even in Satsvarup Maharaj, he wrote in his diary, I remember it, about Krishna there, that he looks like king of elephants. And then I was thinking, why he's saying like that? How to understand this? And then when you were looking at Krishna's calves, they were really, really fat, like elephants' legs. But they were in the same times, they were really like in good shape and harmonized with rest of the body. So he was really beautiful. And Radharani over there, she had the most beautiful eyes. We completely fell in love with the deity. So we lived there for 1.5 years. I will not go into details because it's still so much to say. But we didn't have good experience there with the management, really bad experience, not only us, other people who were living there, and we left the place. And unfortunately, we were speaking with some sannyasis about it, about situation over there, but nobody seems to care. In this moment, of course, ISKCON was going through some problems already. There was Ritviks, where that time there was Harikesh Prabhu maybe 2 years before, he also left, and there was Suhotra Maharaj had problems. So there was plenty of problems, especially around European yatras. So it was, on one hand I understood, but on the other hand I still felt like it wasn't fair. It was so much like such a big scars it left in us, like deep scars, that we put away our japas for like, we stopped chanting, we put away all the books for some time. We couldn't, we felt like how devotees can behave like that to other devotees. I will not go to the details. I'm fine already with it, but yeah, I will just not go there. So and one funny thing was, actually, when we were living in that temple, we were again having seva in the kitchen. We were cooking for deities and for the devotees, and we were listening always to some bhajans, kirtans, etc., etc. And we've got instruction that from now on nobody can listen to Agnideva Prabhu because he's listening from Tripurari Swami. So it stayed in me, but we were rebellious, so we were listening to him anyway. Like we didn't follow this one. And we got back to Poland, but it wasn't good for us economically there. And we started to travel and from one place to another. And some time ago, I was calculating that we were married for 15 years with Kalpataru, and we started like 15 homes in 6 different countries. So we were changing and changing all the time. We were always unhappy. We were always searching for something, and it was hard. The only thing which was kind of steady in our life, it was Krishna consciousness. It was ISKCON temples, because we were still that time we were ISKCON devotees. And I started to draw also that time, because I started this series, which I was calling it Krishna domesticated, so that it was this little girl and she was having this Krishna doll and carrying it around everywhere in the house. And then a little bit this Krishna changed into real friend. So he was size of the girl after some time. So I just kind of felt like you need to have this Krishna home in this every day. He can play with you like ball, or he can have a bath with you, like you can go and jump and splash water and things like that. So I was drawing this kind of things. But of course, and in the same time, both our parents, both his father and my mom died. So it was a little bit like this clash with the real true face of this word, with this Mrityu Loka, which Guru Maharaj was saying quite often, and it stayed in my heart. Like he was saying about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying to Vishnupriya that this word and this lila is for us for crying. This is like saying goodbyes word. And I felt like this is resonating with me. I didn't hear yet Guru Maharaj's lectures, but this, I catched it when I heard it for the first time. And from this moment, I just realized why I'm wasting time for. And Kalpataru in that time started to be interested with other sangas, because it was partially the problems which were in ISKCON and answers we didn't got for the treatment we've got. And he started to be interested. We were visiting sometimes Narayana Maharaja's temple. We had Paramdvaiti Maharaj. We went for his Mela as well in Hungary. And of course Guru Maharaj. And in the beginning I was very skeptical, and we exchanged or Kalpataru, because my English wasn't so good that time yet, he exchanged letters with our ISKCON guru about Sridhar Maharaj situation, about Ritvik situation in ISKCON, and also that we wanted to take Shiksha from Guru Maharaj. And we've got really strange answers to it. Like a few years back, he was fighting with Ritvik and Ritvik philosophy. And now he was like saying that, no, this is the only way. We are just bringing devotees to Prabhupada, but we were explaining, but we want to have our own Prabhupada. It's not enough, and it's not according to tattva, etc. So after a few weeks of exchanging letters, he wrote to us that our relationship is over. You are free. You can do whatever you want. If you feel inspired there, that's the most important, because you need to save yourself first. So we kind of appreciated that. And in the same time, it was Braja Sundari who also joined Guru Maharaja's mission. And that was the thing which I knew her steadiness, how serious she is. And I was feeling like, okay, I may not know some things, but if she is doing it, I'm following, because I knew there is some truth there. And then I started to read Sanga, because still my English wasn't that good. And the language in Sanga was quite easy. And I was like blown away from like Guru Maharaja's approach to these new topics which arrived. And I didn't know what to think about it, because I heard different things in ISKCON, like about homosexuality, about position woman as a guru, and fall from Vaikuntha. And I very much like the approach of Guru Maharaj, his like warm heart and really like including everyone. And also like this Vaikuntha thing, that was thing which was coming back to me quite often with this why question, why we are here. Did we fall? Did he push us back? So we went there and we got back here. This is psychopathic kind of way, like my father. It's like it was very scary. So it was very important for me to hear all of that and to see that going on in this way. But unfortunately, I know we first there was one thing which I remember. We started to listen also Famicol on Skype, and for me it was like every week I was waiting for that, for being greeted by you and Karnamrita. It was always like the sweetest thing, because you felt, I never met you, I couldn't see you that time even on a Skype, but you could hear in your voice like you so like really happy that we are there, some devotees, some really far in Poland. So that was beautiful for me, and I was thankful, and I was waiting for it every week. And we met Guru Maharaj.
You were steady back in the beginning with those phone calls, because we didn't have a very big group. I mean, maybe we'd get 10, 15 devotees at the most on those calls.
And, I remember.
So that was impressive that you were getting on in Poland.
It was good time. So like with the hour, it was good hour. So there was no excuses.
No excuses.
No. Yeah, and we met Guru Maharaj like personally in 2011 in Poland, and we've got that time both initiations, and it wasn't that like when I met him, I wasn't sure. Like I was scared because of my relationship with my father. It still like left. Are you sure that this is the person? But it worked out. It was with the lectures there, it worked out perfectly. But unfortunately, I will jump a little bit, like few years, because after few years of this traveling and changing, like we were not so much with each other as well. Me and Kalpataru, there was some like half year that we were living separately in different countries. So we started to be more like friends than husband and wife. And of course, in that time, you need someone closer to you who will support you in different way, not only as a friend. So now I'm speaking about it in kind of like calm way, and everything is fine. But of course, my world completely collapsed that time. He was like my best friend. We understood each other. We loved the same things. We were from the same kind of background. So much, like 15 years together. So it was very heavy that time. But we still friends. We can count on each other, and we are still in contact. And what I got, his family, we were living back and forth in his place so often. They are so close to me still. And so they were visiting. Now it's COVID, so we couldn't. but they were visiting me here in Finland. They know Brigo. My ex-mom in law, she still behaves like she's my mom. So, and she likes Brigo very much. So it's a beautiful thing. And one more thing which I got from Kalpataru, because he was always thinking for himself, and I admired that very much. So he made me understand how unhealthy my relationship with my father was, and that I should be careful with other relationships because I was easy to kind of be trusty to people I shouldn't, and that I should be careful to have this kind of healthy relationship with guru. It's different with different persons. So he gave me that, and yeah, and that was huge gift among other gifts I have from him. He's really wonderful person and very important person in my life. But of course, after this,
it's just really unusual. I mean, I've heard a few instances where after a breakup of a marriage that the couple still stays close, but it's very, very unusual.
Yeah, of course, we had some moments when we were like trying to explain to each other that some things, and it was explaining. We were fighting in this moment, but then we explained to each other, we heard each other, we console each other, and everything got back to friendship. So he's just amazing person. It was always my good luck with people in my life. Despite of my father, I was super lucky. And of course, after this one thing I kind of understood about the relationships, but that many things in me from this childhood left inside me, and still I'm struggling, being 43 I think now, so I'm still struggling. And it's like I was checking just because in English it's a little bit different named. I was checking some days back how you call it in English, this long list of how you would call it in English, of leftovers from the really unhealthy relationship with abusive relationship. So I was like, I could tick almost everything on the list. So it's plenty of it left, but like the one thing which is really like bothering me, it's like I have this it was called poor self-regulation, and for my sadhana, that's what I really have to struggle with. It's like it's easy for me to be distracted if I'm getting upset. Then ekadashi can be really like challenging thing, and yes, it was hard a few days back, and I have to admit I didn't follow that day because we were traveling as well. That's excuse, but I prefer. And the shame and guilt, and I've got problems with sleeping, with eating as well. When it's stressful, all these things are like they reminding me that you are still not healed. It's like a long process.
Yeah.
But the best thing was that I wrote about the situation with Kalpataru and me to Guru Maharaj, and immediately I got a response, like almost immediately, come to States. I will take care of you. Don't worry about anything. Come to States. And it was I knew that I won't be able to do it. First of all, I didn't have money that time, and also just a few years back we were trying to get visa twice, and we were refused twice. So I knew it will not work, and especially not money. But I was planning that time. All right, I will not get visa, but there is Madhuvan. So I was living in London that time. I will stay in London. I will work hard, and I will move to Madhuvan. So idealistic. But in between, because I calculated I will need like half year more or less to have enough. But in between, I started to write with Brigu, like messages, and we were like lonely person. Like Kalpataru started his life quite soon with another very sweet devotee girl, and I didn't want to. I had this in my head, this vision of my mom, who, even though my father was already in that time, before her death, he was already with third wife. she was still waiting for him. She wasn't going to any relation. Her life was just this waiting, this bitterness, sadness, loneliness, sorrow. And I didn't want to do that. I was like thinking, I'm still not even 40 years old, soon, but not yet. I still can have life. So therefore I was planning this, okay, let's go to Marduvan. But then Brigu started to write to me letters. I started to write to him first. So, and one word to another, he came for the date to London twice. So, and slowly all the puzzle pieces started to fall in place because it was so unusual that people like us in this, after really long relationships, both of us, and also in this more or less the same age, not so young anymore. And also we knew how difficult it is to find person like that only. You're same age, but then it's like, okay, let's find vegetarian, difficult. Okay, let's try to find Vaishnava. This is like impossible. And person from your own sanga, this is like a miracle. So we decided like, wow, everything is working. We like each other in like many ways. And yeah, we had similar understanding. Of course, we were after some previous experiences. So we knew that there will be work to do, but we didn't want to lose time. We knew it's, we are almost 40. And unfortunately that time he was moving to Calcutta for his work. He was doing some research, manuscripts for Hari Bhakti Vilasa. So he was moving there for half year together with Radharani. And I was in London, but he said, just come to Calcutta, live with us. It will be like new experience, fun. So I went there. He invited me. I didn't have money, so he got me a ticket. So yeah, it was like, proper adventure. I never been in India before as well. So I was a little bit scared, but it was just wonderful. Of course, we had some problems because it's new. You need to change, you need to adjust yourself. But for me, was the most important thing was that he is Vaishnava and he's so steady and he's so serious about it, about so many things. He's worshiping Shadbhuj, Gauranga, and at that time he was worshiping him for more than 20 years every day. And also in Calcutta, of course, we saw some places connected with Gaudiya tradition, but we went like, I've got also Radharani as my sweet little daughter there, which was challenging for me because I wasn't planning to have kids. Like with my childhood, like I was thinking I'm not going to be a good mother, and so I wasn't planning anything like that. But she was so sweet that you couldn't not fall in love with her. And in the same time, she was going to school there. And in the same time, Brigu already for many years, he was taking Shiksha from Gopananda Bon Maharaj. And they were having one temple there in Calcutta. So we were visiting them every Sunday, almost every Sunday. And they had another temple just on the other side of the street. They were building it up. So it was quite big temple, like a building was big, but very simple. And like devotees were sleeping on, like you could imagine, like kusha grass mats, so thin, and then like cement, and plenty of brahmacharis which were there from like really childhood. The temple room quite big, but deities, everything very simple but so beautiful, colorful, and you could see that all the energy is going around the deities. Like everything else, what they are having as a life, it's simple. And we went with them as well to Vrindavan for Kartik for 2 weeks. And this time for me, it was like living in Chaitanya Charitamrita. For real, I was blown away because so many Bengali Matajis came as well for pilgrimage. So there was like temple over there, which was very close to Madan Mohan temple, which is my like dearest place. I always wanted to go there. So, and in this temple in this ashram, we were staying there. And all these devotees were just like serving. And there were some devotees which were like from the description of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which were like really loud, like this Avathuta type. Like one sannyasi was like that all the time. The other were like 3 brothers. And they joined the mission like when they were really, really young. And they were 3 brothers and 3 of them sannyasis. One was managing the temple, this new temple in Calcutta. The other was Pujari in Vrindavan, and the third one, he was like a pandit. He was like a big hope. But unfortunately, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, he died. He had problems with Ramananda Bon Maharaj, his name was. So he had problems with kidneys, so he died. And we've got, because we were, of course, visiting all the holy places, and Gopananda Bon Maharaj was like a father figure for us. He especially for Radha, he loved her. So he sent just to guard us this huge devotee, Monotosh Prabhu, and he was everywhere with us. And there is this description when Mahaprabhu is visiting temples, and there is this one devotee who is like protecting him. So he was protecting Radharani from others. So I've got this one picture in Nandagram when this huge Monotosh is holding this 6-year-old little Radharani. She just gave her finger because he was so big. So it was just amazing. And the like kirtans were so rich, everything was so, it was really living. Like, and one fun thing is, in the ashram, in the temple, there is a room of Bon Maharaj in which he was staying, and under this room there is underground room where Bon Maharaj spent many years doing bhajan without going out. He stayed there for years, and he was like, it was like, I went there down. It was tiny room, like 2 by 2 under the ground. It was a little bit claustrophobic experience, but also like very spiritual. So it was amazing place to visit, to be there. So yeah, so that was my experience in India, which was like the best. Like the best, really. Even though it was so loud, it's still the same Vrindavan, so loud and crazy. But somehow they managed to have this quietness in this tiny temple. Yeah.
So how long you were all together? How long were you there in India?
Over there, they were already living there for some time because Radharani was starting school earlier, but I was there with them for 4 months. So then I got back to Poland. I finished my divorce arrangements with Kalpataru because you needed to do it in Poland, and I decided to move to Finland. And they were coming back in January, and I joined them. And here in Finland, I came with 3 boxes of stuff. I didn't have much from previous marriage, so I came here with like nothing, and I got already so much from Rigo. So it was like, yeah, winning some lottery for me, for real, spiritual lottery. But only one thing, it was unfair, because I was thinking like, all right, so I will move to Finland. There is a bonus in it that I'll be with Brigu. He's so steady. I will learn. I'll be like, I'm going to be holy in like a few years. I am not, but yeah. But I was thinking like, there are Haripriya, like the sweetest person in the world. I will have her association all the time. I also was very close that time with Tadiya, and of course Kamalaksha and Krishangi. But then when I came there, I find out that Finland is so big that everyone is living so far from each other. And it's huge country, and I think it's like only 5 million of people living there here. So it's just very few devotees, and in our not so big town, it's even less. So I felt a little bit like he didn't say about it.
He didn't tell you all the details about how far you're going to be from your friends. He didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah, but he made up for that thing, because he came with idea to make like in our house on every Wednesday we're having Bhagavatam meetings. First we had like, it was Bhagavad Gita, every week 1 chapter of Gita, kirtan, lecture, and prasadam with local devotees, which is few but very steady devotees. So they some are from ISKCON. Yeah, most of them are from ISKCON. So yeah, and sometimes visited us some other devotees from Narayan Maharaj. So but it was less. And now we are doing Bhagavatam, and I may not remember it correctly because we are having summer break, but I think we are already on 7th canto. One of the last of the chapters. So we getting close to the Jews.
You are getting close to the 10th canto. Well, that's really good. So I've heard so many devotees talk about having Bhagavatam study groups, and they usually get through like the first canto, and then something happens where they kind of have a new group of people. So then they start over again. And I've heard devotees say, I've never gotten past the first canto.
Yeah, I know this feeling.
I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing which was very sweet, which Brigu did, he decided, it was really out of my like comfort zone, because our house, it's not small, but it's not big enough to have many guests and for a long time. But he decided to invite Gopananda Bon Maharaj together with Sadhaka to us and he stayed here for a little bit longer than 2 weeks in our house, and then we went to the country and we had like program every day with our devotees from here, and some others came, and every single day, and it was so wonderful to have him here. He was like giving some tips how to cook some things. He corrects. Can you imagine that someone can correct Brigu with Arati? But he did. So there was some correction done. It was a few things we changed and adjust. And one fun thing was that it was funny when he saw us. We were brushing our teeth because it's just one toilet. So he was walking around. He heard some noise, and he checked, and we had this electric toothbrushes. He was like, "What is this? How lazy you are that this is vibrating for you!" And another day, I was vacuuming, and they were supposed to go for a walk. So I was thinking, okay, I will vacuum all over the house in that time. They'd be gone. But then when he saw that I'm taking out some machine, because he's like almost 100 years old. So he is in quite good shape still, but he's quite old. And then he started to see what I'm doing with it. So for half an hour, he was following me everywhere to see how good the machine is. Then he just shake his hand and he was just like, wow, amazed by it. So it was wonderful to have this time with him. Yeah.
So Krishna,
and one
has brought in a lot of a lot of spiritual nectar into your life. It sounds like at different points that you're getting to do that India trip, and then getting sadhus coming and staying at your house and following you around while you vacuum. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
I'm totally like the luckiest. And also with Gopananda Bon Maharaj and like Gaudiya devotees, I realized one thing, because I was struggling with the same question again and again, why we are here, and to some extent karma and reincarnation answer it. Like, from material point of view, it was kind of, it was easy to understand. But with Gaudiya Math devotees, there are really like loving bhakti vinod. So this has helped me with a personal problem, which was like philosophically, I could understand the anadi karma idea, but emotionally, it doesn't satisfy me at all. So Krishna putting us here in this world of suffering, it seems so cruel, like he is some psychopath, perhaps like my father. So I guess the problem was coming from there. So emotionally, this was very difficult for me for many years to accept. And I know that other devotees who had the same problem as me. So that's why I love Bhaktivinoda's teaching, that we made the choice ourselves. We choose to serve Krishna in this Srishti Lila here, accepting the difficulties of this service and the possibility that we may forget Krishna, which unfortunately is true. And of course I heard from Guru Maharaj that this might be just like a preaching tactic, but it was working for me for understanding all of this. So I could like harmonize it still. It may change, I may not need this later, but it was like a tool. So when I heard this teaching, a huge load fell from my heart. So Krishna is not a psychopath. I am so thankful to my friends to have introduced me to this teaching of Bhakti Vinoda. And also there was this one thing that I kind of felt like there is this unfairness, of being here. So therefore it was so heavy for me to do sadhana, because I felt like if he is psychopath, then it's unfair that I need to struggle all my way up back to him. I mean, I'm not putting anything because there is no beginning into this anadi karma and etc. So, but this took away from me this unfairness, because sadhana is difficult itself. So it was, from this moment, it wasn't unfair. It was just difficult. Still struggle, but so much healthier that it was, I needed it. So and
it's fascinating how, that so many devotees have had issues with the philosophy and with Krishna based on having some kind of trauma with their father or some authoritative person in their life that was less than ideal. And it's a real struggle to see past that and be able to realize that Krishna really, he loves us and he's doing everything out of love, but it's
some things we just can't understand, we can't grasp it, and I completely agree with it that it is like that. But when it's the same question is coming back to you and it's stopping your sadhana, which happened to me, putting me to so much anxiety and depression, that it's like I want to hear this. I needed to hear this kind of preaching. And if it's mercy of Bhaktivinoda only preaching strategy, I'm fine with it, because I know that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had one devotee, he had one disciple who was quite a rich person. He was, I don't know if he wasn't even older than him by age, and he was suffering with depression. Most of his family died, and etc. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew him. So I read his story about him, and he wrote once really beautiful offering to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and it touched me very much. So I kind of felt like, there is this connection with depression, with these questions which are perhaps were asked that time, so it was out of the mercy. Let's give this answer like that. Works for me. If it will mercy of this kind of devotee, it works for me.
Exactly. And because there just are things that don't make sense in this, according to our minds and our experiences in this world, and it's something that we really have to take and just put up on a shelf until later.
Exactly.
So
it will come back later.
It'll come back. It'll come. And at some point, it'll be revealed to us. But there's just inconceivable, and because we don't understand spirit yet, a little bit, but so it's so hard to always understand Krishna's. I mean, even to read Krishna Leela, the Krishna leave the Vrajavasis for all those years, and you see but being able to understand more and more about his intention and his it's just it's a game changer, so
definitely.
But thank you for sharing that, because I think it's okay to have our struggles and our doubts with the philosophy, and if we don't feel that we can voice them and we hold them inside, then they can do so much more harm to us than when we open up and start to Krishna, when he'll send people, he'll send help to help you be able to manage it and at some point resolve those issues. So
this is exactly how I felt with the sending, this constant prayer for the same answer to the same question over it. It was so deeply rooted in my heart. So and I got it finally. And for years, this question is not coming back anymore. There are others, but they are much more serious.
Yeah, but it's interesting because the obstacles that a lot of devotees have shared thus far on these interviews have been more external things, and so this internal struggle. It's really nice to. Yeah, it's great to hear that you're having all this internal struggle.
Yeah, I know. Like we said.
But we're all having those internal struggles, but you were able to articulate it so well and share it.
Yeah, because then we can share the way how we dealt with it. Exactly. So it's always, we can help each other. Exactly. So sometimes not, because I was saying the same thing which helped me, and to some of my friends it didn't help, because like Guru Maharaj is saying, it needs to be this teachable moment. And if you're not emotionally there, you still got some other things on the way, you will not hear it, you will not see it in the same way as I do. So yeah, you need to wait sometimes. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but this helped me a lot. And it was like this connection with Gaudiya Math, and there is like new thing recently going on in my life, maybe like for last 2 years, I would say. And it is partially, completely, thanks to Krishangi, that I started to listen to some lectures of devotees from ISKCON. Like there is this Wisdom of the Sages, they've got this yoga podcast. And of course, Namarasa, I was listening even before he did interview with Guru Maharaj. So I am big fan. And I know that the Wisdom of the Sages, I think Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu and Gopal Nandini, they are also listening, because sometimes I'm seeing them there. And of course, Krishangi as well is there. So it's fun to see our group there, and they are just wonderful. So I feel in this way. Also, I was listening to Janavi was having on Wednesdays her kirtans, and she was saying, like, sharing some words. And with hearing this kind of discussion, I really feel like there is really healthy hope for like sanghas to cooperate, that some things, you just need to forget some things. There is place for forgiveness, needs to be place for forgiveness, and carry on. And it's kind of interesting how different they are, these groups. Like I heard some interview with someone with Narayan Maharaj, so they were speaking about completely same things, but the language was only different. And it was so like it was putting you in different place, so you needed to challenge yourself a little bit to understand it differently, but it was enlivening it. It was like you got a little bit more of explanation of it. And like Gopananda Bon Maharaj, when they were living here, he was giving initiation, for example, to one devotee here, and it was so much fun to see these little tiny differences in sadhana. They very tiny. It's just the way they chanting some things and how many of it, and also some things with this arati, it was different as well. So it is just, and there is sense behind it. So it is just beautiful. It is like you can just go for this nectar here and there and still stay in your group. Because to be honest, it's like my father said about one thing he said to me. He said many things, but one thing he said, and he didn't know how it will go, because he said to me when I was quite young, that make sure that you are always like surrendered by people who are more wise than you, more intelligent than you, like in some way better, so you can grow with them. You will make sure that they will teach you. He was thinking about himself, that I should be always with him and always clap to whatever he will say. I guess partially he was saying that, but
very good advice.
It is really good advice. Yes,
Saragrahi,
it's so challenging. But it is challenging, to live like with Brigu, that you always feel that you're trying to catch up and you're so much behind. Like Padmanabha Maharaj arrived in our lives like a few years back, and he's giving she's younger than me. He's giving such a lectures, and he's so dedicated to like Guru Maharaj. This is like just unbelievable. And it's like, it's one way that I've got this one thing which stayed in me from having this relationship with my father. It was that I'm worried and I'm worried too much. I'm worrying too much, and also that I am scared of being abandoned. So this sometimes I'm using this emotion to kind of to run after the devotees, like chanting a little bit more, because I know how ahead all these devotees are. So that I know I want to be in this group. I know next life I can get another guru, because it's like that. But I really want to be with this group. It's so special. All the I've got so much support with my drawings, like all over internet, like Bhakti Rasa. She's always so like saying so kind words. Sumati, Haripriya, of course, like Krishangi, Sakyarati, Shamananda. Like so many devotees from South America, like Carolina and Annapurna and Mohini and Madan Mohan and you and your husband when he was still around us. It's like I'm just like so grateful. It's just like winning lottery. I just need to run to catch up. But I am in good company. So
it's really good to feel like that, instead of thinking I'm ahead of everybody and everybody's following me because I have the most to offer.
Yeah,
it's really, we should all feel what you're saying, that I have everyone's ahead of me and I'm just trying to keep up. And
we should feel like that if we do something with it.
Because
Because I'm not always doing like my best, or at least the good enough. But otherwise it's good attitude.
Good attitude for sure. So anything that you would like to share just as a last, because we want to leave a little time for questions, but like to be able to get any advice that you would give devotees on the path of from your own experiences, that just something to leave them with, the essence, the Saragrahi of it all.
Advice. Yeah, I think I would just say the same what my father said. Just try to be in good company, because you may not have enough strength yourself, but at least seeing others doing good things, you just want to be like them. You just like all right, should I eat more chips and watch something on Netflix when I'm drawing, or should I listen to lecture of Guru Maharaj? So you can get inspired, and then you can listen to the three lectures, or do one extra round or something. But so be around good people, and this was the biggest mercy of Krishna, that I got this advice quite early in my age, and from that person, but good advice. Try to go for nectar.
It's absolutely, it's we make advancement by association and good company. That is key. And like Guru Maharaj says, that if you're a Gyani, you don't have friends,
Yes.
But as devotees, like friendship is the way to make progress. Good friendship. So
that's for me the most important in Krishna consciousness, that this is this friend, this Krishna friend who is like the best you can imagine. I had so many friends in my life who like in some ways betrayed me or didn't treat me well, but with Krishna I feel like he will take everything away. You don't worry, you did something wrong. Just carry on. Don't have guilt. Don't be ashamed. Just carry on from the point you are. Just carry on. So
nice.
It was hard in the beginning to think like that, but it's easier.
Nice. Yeah, it's so important, and not that we don't feel badly when we behave in a way that's maybe not ideal, but that we don't beat ourselves up and stay in that, and that we can forgive ourselves, that we have our conditioning and our limitations, and be able to keep moving forward. Because it doesn't help to just wallow in our
changes nothing.
We can just we can really stay stuck, just feeling sorry for ourselves, feeling bad about everything, and we won't go very far doing that. So
that's true.
So I'd like to turn this over to Or is there anything else that you wanted to say before I ask? That was really
Nothing comes to my mind anymore.
okay.
I'm
Okay. Well,
kind of
thank you so-
happy that it's over.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's so wonderful to hear your whole story. Just to, to get these little bits and pieces of it, and now put the whole puzzle together. Well,
thank you again for inviting me. It's
well, thank you so
it's
much.
one of the wonderful things I like have to tick off. Like I did it. I've been in the interviews with Archana. Yes.
Yes. Yes, you did it. And even though you were really nervous about it, you could have just said no, like some people have. Pamanava Swami was here for a while visiting, and we were, he'd be giving me suggestions of who to invite onto the call. And I would say, well, this devotee doesn't want to do it. They just feel they can't. And he would say, they have to get out of their comfort zone. You have to tell them that. Get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. That's what exactly I was thinking. Yeah. I will cry. After this, I will just lie down and I will think, oh, Jesus, I said so many things which I shouldn't. I wanted to say it differently. But yeah, I did it for Maharaj mostly.
Yeah, you did it. Everything that came out was perfect, just what it was supposed to be. And yeah.
I hope I wasn't speaking too fast for the.
We can ask
translators,
Akura.
yeah.
He didn't
stop
us. Either we were talking too fast and he couldn't stop us.
All right. Or Guru Vakya.
Oh, we had both interpreters speaking at the same time. No, Kara finish it. Then we'll have Guru Vakya talk. Well, he wants to say something, so go ahead, Guru Vakya. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, Guru, let me just translate for the devotees that are on Facebook. And so Guru Bhakti was saying that he never can translate 100%. And he's always trying to catch up. So but I'm sure he did a good job. I'm sure he did. I think he's a perfectionist. I
heard his translations. I checked him a few times during Guru Maharaj's lecture, and he's perfect. Yeah, yeah. There's some tiny, yeah.
Okay, so occurred. Okay. Now we can hear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
I had notes here, so I was following. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Kura.
So Kura was sharing that he was able to understand everything that Saragrahi was saying, and he really appreciated her sharing and her honesty and her depth. So that was the basic takeaway. So so should we go? We have, I don't know, we have a comment in the in this. So
thank you very much, Annapurna Devi. You are such an inspiration, and like I'm always so happy when you're sharing my pictures. It's just I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So, does anybody who's on the call have a question? If you do, you could unmute yourself and share your question. And if, okay, sure. Okay, so let me repeat that for the devotees who didn't hear it. So the question is how to connect favorably with her inner nature as an artist with I guess the practicalities of being able to make it a financial lifestyle or career.
I would like to know that because to be honest, I never lived off my art. I had some income when I had my company here in Finland for 1 year, but it never covered my like expenses. So it's one thing. I think Krishangi said that it's hard to sell devotional things. Even for her, she's writing and drawing such a beautiful books, and I think they also not getting much money out of it. So unfortunately, if I wouldn't have my patron husband, I wouldn't be able to carry on with it. So I unfortunately I really don't know. I will start now because I'm starting to work in August in kindergarten here in Finland. So I will in the same time I will try to recreate my company again, and I will try this. There's one website which is called Redbubble, and then you can sell your prints and they will send it somewhere. So you don't need to print things in advancement. So there is no big expenses for you. So I will try to do that, and then I can try to answer if this was working for me. But I am not so sure how this will work. And I truly don't know answer to this question. It's I knew from the beginning that I will not make money out of it, but I was always wanted to kind of, for me, it was difficult. Like I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita and and I was listening to Guru Maharaj's lectures, and there is so many personas there, so many names. They're so similar. Some names are just the same, just the end is different. One is Adhikari, the other is something else, Thakur. And then one is from Katwa, the other is related from the one who is in South India, and it's so many of them. And I was lost in it for many years, and now it's a little bit better because I started to read about it more often and make pictures for it, just to connect person with the situation, to put to some picture all lila or parts of it. So then I will connect this. So I was doing this always. I was thinking this is my seva, because I always felt like I am not, from my childhood, like I am not good enough. So I don't have much to offer. So at least this I will do. It's not so perfect, but I will do that. I will just carry on. I'm doing this also a little bit for myself because there is no many pictures like that, which would be like so detailed with especially with Chaitanya Lila, Gaura Lila. So so that was, I was from the beginning, I was realistic. I'm very realistic. For me, it's hard to dream. I am not dreaming about these things. I know that for everything you have to kind of work. So I wasn't dreaming that, oh, I will make this book and this, and I'd be famous like Shamarani or someone like that. So no, I knew kind of, I was always down to earth. So I'm sorry, I can't give an answer to that.
Well, you did give an answer. You just have to find a patron and marry them.
Yeah, exactly. And he loves art, so Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, Krishna made the arrangement that you could do your artwork and not be a starving artist out on the street. So, which he
Yeah.
would never. Krishna always takes care of his devotees. So that's how he took care of you. And that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see it this way. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Anybody else have a question?
Thank you, Vrajahari Prabhu.
You have any other? I see some smiling faces up there, but no questions. Gopal,
That's
Nandini,
fine.
Bhakti-rati.
That's fine.
Well, you did great. And I guess we can kind of wrap it up then if we're done. And again, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
let's see, next week, the interview will be with Kanuram Das.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to hearing from our paramedic devotee. He's gonna
Just
have
married.
a lot of good things to share with us.
Yeah.
And yes, and thank you all of you that are on the call. It is just wonderful to have so many devotees getting on and supporting these interviews. So thank you. And again, thank you so much to our two interpreters to make
Thank
this
you very much.
available to devotees from other countries. That's such a wonderful service.
Gracias, Akrura. Dzięki, Guru-Vakya.
So we'll see everybody on soon. We've got lots of nectar coming up next month with all the festivals, and we'll have some special classes with Guru Maharaj next month. So a lot to look forward to. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Jai.